There are offices that have art, and then there are offices that have art. In fact, art is in the DNA of the firm that we are visiting today. In this segment of Frame, we view the private Stamats Commercial Art Collection that is filled with eclectic treasures. And to give us some insight and take us on this tour is the VP of Business Development, Bill Stamats. Bill, welcome to Frame.
Thank you.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. We're happy to be here as well. The office is just exquisite. It is like a museum, as one of your employees said.
Yeah.
What type of work do you do?
Well, we're a marketing company. We always have been a marketing company ever since 1923. My grandfather started the business. As a component of being a marketing company, of course, you have to have really great creative.
Yes.
That's part of the messaging and doing messaging for your client. And we've had a number of people here who have been artists. We actually kind of become a magnet for people who have a creative bent, particularly a visual art bent. So we've always been that, always had that. And it's part of our DNA.
Give us a background. When did the collection start?
My father, who was the big art collector, and he started collecting art when he was very young, about 18. He started looking at art and getting really intrigued with it and started to collect art posters. So we have some art posters that he collected from the 50s. And then he started collecting paintings. He really started getting into different forms of art and was just a really great collector and really knew what he was buying and staying ahead of the curve, and really enjoyed learning about art and then buying art. So most of the collection that we have here comes from him. We filled in, though, with family artwork from those of us in the family who are artists. So there's some of my work up on the walls.
Yes.
There's artwork from my stepmother, Susan Stamats, has her photos up, from my brother Peter, and from my cousin Tom. So
let's talk about your dad. At 18, you started collecting the posters. Do you know what triggered that?
I think what triggered that was an interest in art that goes back to my grandparents, in particular my grandmother, who had Grant Wood do a piece for the family called Over Mantelpiece, or Over Mantel Decoration. So Grant Wood was actually a craftsman. He was trained as a craftsman and became a painter sort of secondarily. So he did the mantle and the fireplace for my grandparents' home on Linden Drive. And then when it was done, my grandmother said, wouldn't it be nice if there was a painting over the mantle? So then Grant Wood did the painting over the mantle. It happened to be at a time when he was really hitting his stride, Grant Wood was, with his style that everyone knows him for, which was, you know, American Gothic and spring planting and all those great Grant Wood paintings.
Well, that's really fascinating.
So yeah, we lucked out. I think the family lucked out that he was in that mode when he was doing sort of this sort of stylized landscape approach.
Absolutely. How did he find out about these artists?
Well, that's where the passion for art came in. I think he would get books on them. He would figure out, I mean, this is before the internet, so he would get books on them and he'd figure out about them. And then he would go to collectors in New York and other places and look at their artwork, get pricing from them. He got to be so familiar with certain gallery owners in New York in particular, that they would send him work. And then he would look at it and decide what he wanted to send back, the pieces he didn't want, and keep the ones he wanted, and then would send them a check for it. So I remember distinctly,
really
you know, when I was 10, 11 years old, when he was buying these photographs, and they were all over our house, and he had this little library area in our house where he would look at different photographs and determine whether he wanted to buy them or not. And they had these crazy names, these guys like Ansel Adams and Imogene Cunningham and Ralph Eugene Meatyard, and these crazy photographers, and then they were really interesting images, and he was buying them, and way back then.
Before they became very well renowned.
Exactly.
Did he ever ask for your input, or any family members' input on what he was
yeah, he would always show work to my brother and me and say, what do you think? And my brother now is a collector of landscape photographs, I think because of that experience.
Sure, sure. How did he decide what would stay in the office setting versus what he might take home? Because
he just took what was not completely filling his house, he would bring here, because his house was pretty much just full. I mean, he's like the lady who buys too much Fiesta wear. I mean, it was just, he bought too much stuff. I mean, it was just loaded. Yeah.
Like high-end art hoarder?
Oh, I mean, pretty much. Yeah, he was buying. Yeah, and Susan was like, where are we going to put all this stuff? You're buying all this stuff.
We need another house.
Right.
Or two
I
or
guess
five.
we're taking it down to Stamats and we'll put it there. So that's how we ended up with the art collection. A lot of it, yeah.
So why and when did you decide that it was important to have art in the commercial setting outside of, you know, the space issues at home? Was there a distinct plan, an intentional plan?
There was, I don't think there was as much just an intentional plan. We're going to put art here and it's really important. I think it's just that this is a family business. Art's important to the family. It is, like we've said, it's part of our DNA. We felt that, you know, we should have this stuff for people to see and view and understand and appreciate and create an aesthetic culture that people really want to be around and enjoy. So it's because we're a creative company, because the family appreciates art, it's sort of evolved. I don't think you can just sort of have something put in place without it being organic. It's more real because it can happen in an organic way.
Do you feel that it's this perk that is taken for granted in any way, or is consciously appreciated?
I honestly think that our employees really like the fact that we're a creative company. I think they like coming to work every day. I think they appreciate that they work for a company that does creative work but also has really great artwork all around them. That I think gets them in a certain mindset and mode for making good creative stuff.
I know that if I worked here, I would probably walk by a piece or two and think, that's it. That's the inspiration point for Project X, and somehow integrate that inspiration into the work.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually had employees approach us a couple of years ago and said, look, we'd really like to know more about the artwork that's here, and can we put together something online or a brochure? And we did. So we have that not just for our employees, but also for clients to come in. And it's amazing how many employees will say, let me tell you about the artwork in here. And they know a little bit about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
You understand the story. What an emotional connection.
Yeah.
The art really connects you more emotionally to, I think, your job and the company.
Absolutely it does.
That's pretty smart and really important in today's competitive environment when it comes to attracting and retaining top talent.
Absolutely.
And especially that's, I know, a topic for this area is making
it
sure
is a big topic for this area.
The brains that we have here, because there are lots of them.
Right. We want to keep the really good, creative, smart brains here as much as we possibly can. And again, you know, we don't have beaches, we don't have mountains, so what are you going to do? You're going to have to do something from a creative standpoint to keep people engaged and wanting to be here.
What is the expanse of the collection?
Just about everything. We go from African sculptures mainly to pre-Columbian ceramic pieces to a lot of prints, a lot of print works like Rauschenberg, Aymara textiles and weavings, African masks and Mexican masks, Lisansky prints, local great artists. I think we pretty much run a gamut there. I don't think we're leaving a whole lot out of art.
I've seen it,
Yeah.
and I keep wandering through the halls, getting lost to get in love with all the art.
Yeah. Oh, the other big thing, of course, are the big feather pieces. They're feather headdresses from the Kayapo Indians from the Amazon.
Those are
they're stunning.
I won't say anything. I'll just keep coming in. If I sit in the lobby and you're here again, you'll know why. What else can you tell me about the future for the acquisition of new art to add throughout?
You know, if there's going to be acquisition of new art, it probably won't be as profound and as prolific as what my dad did, but it will happen. I mean, and I collect a few pieces every year, and at some point I'm going to be like my dad, and my wife Ann's going to say, it's time to do something with all the artwork in the house. We're already out of wall space, and we're done, so it's all going to start coming down here.
Oh, that'll be exciting.
Yeah,
let me come back. I want to check that out.
Yeah. These are feather pieces from the Kayapo Indians who live in the Amazon area, mainly Mato Grosso and the Amazon basin. They keep birds as pets. So they take the pin feathers from the birds they keep as pets and then make these headdresses for their rite of passage ceremonies. So you can see that all these beautiful, gorgeous feathers are from birds that they have. And they then weave these together with beeswax and things like that. And you can see in this piece in particular, they actually have human hair that they use as part of the headdress as well.
And I just noticed that.
Yeah,
I've looked at this a few times.
Yeah.
Oh, remarkable.
Yeah, they're pretty remarkable pieces, and they're just gorgeous. This is Kuba cloth. Kuba people from the Congo.
Okay.
They put these together, and I think they're gorgeous because of the geometrics that they use on these. Very much a society that has a matrilineal lineage, and they're very kind of interesting that way. So they really follow the women and how things are happening with the women, which is very interesting.
Yes, sacred feminine.
Right, exactly. And a lot of African ethnic groups are ancestor worshippers, but they are not. They actually do believe in reincarnation, though, which is interesting.
Oh,
yeah.
Kind of like the Egyptians.
Yeah,
Ancient
exactly.
Egyptians.
Yeah.
Ah, so gorgeous.
These are original Hagwon prints. Actually, these were collected by my grandparents.
Oh.
So they go back that far, and they've just become part of the Stamats collection. So they're part of Stamats now. And this piece over here, this is a mask from the Dogon tribe that is from Mali, and they live in an area called the Bandiagar Cliffs, and so they're cliff dwellers, and they make these fabulous pieces. And you can tell by the shape of the head that it's Dogon, so you know exactly because of the dome shape of it that it's from that tribe.
Got it.
That's
beautiful.
So, yeah.
You were talking about the patina.
Yeah, the patina comes from actually when they use these for their rituals, they will sacrifice chicken or some animal, and they'll put the blood on them. So the patina is actually the blood from the bird or whatever animal they're sacrificing in part of the ritual.
This has been an absolute delight and privilege. Thank you.
Great.
Thank
well,
you
this
so
is fun.
much.
Thanks.
Good. It is fun to share art, and I really appreciate your time.
You bet.
Thank you so much for allowing us into the Stamats space to see their private commercial art collection. And thank you for tuning in to Frame. Frame is sponsored by Allegra, Click Marketing Solutions, Style Folio Jewelry,